What up, party people? It's your boy Roddy Perry. You tuned in to Box Seats. It goes down every day right here on the Human Meal TV. Joining me today, Amir, A-Rock, Seeley in the building, and the rest of the team will be joining us shortly. And shouts out to Talent and Fig. They are taking care of some personal business today, and we are indeed holding it down. Amir, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. How's everything, Ronnie? Good to see you, sir.
I'm gonna have to get my stuff together, Amir. Okay, because you come in looking fly, man. You came in looking fly. Is that Armani? What is that?
You believe it or not, this is Sean John. Believe it or not,
you know what?
It's a Sean John suit. Believe it or not.
Why you playing, Amir? I love Sean John suits because they have the European cut, but they still are big enough for a black man to wear without being all tight up in there.
And everything, yeah. And I think he, again, one of those guys who obviously has a amazing eye for fashion.
Yes.
Sean Puffy is Puffy, Harlem's, one of Harlem's own. But he's always just had a great eye for capturing, like you said, a specific look for us.
That's part of the Harlem world, though, is staying fly and dress nice.
Yes, sir. You ain't lying with that.
So the man, the myth, the legend, joining us, Mr. Mike Sean. What up, Mike Sean?
What up, Roddy? And yo, Amir, and I don't
You
know.
all right? Hold on. Wait a minute. Are you okay?
Dog, let me tell you something. When I'm home on the East Coast and I'm with the family and I got to really turn into dad, because I forget when I'm in Texas, I be damn near single. Like, I just be running the streets, right? I'm not messing with no chicks, but I just be running. But
doing shows, going out, eating lunch. Yeah,
doing all like whatever. But then when I get home, and my daughter starts saying, you got to pick me up. You got to take me to a doctor's appointment. You got to take the dog to the veterinarian. You got that. And I'm like, who the hell decided I was a dad? Like,
who put me in charge?
Yeah, who voted on this?
I know who didn't get a vote. Mike Sean.
I know I didn't. I was like, I would have been veto. Call your mother.
I'm sorry I cut you off. You was going to say something to Amir.
Dog, Amir, in real life, he's a fashion plate. Like, real talk, right?
Yeah.
No, everything, the way he talks is classier than me. His
all day. He got me too.
Yes, he got me. Like, I feel like a kid.
Even when he say something bad, it still sound okay.
Yeah, he the type to get away calling a chick a bitch and nothing happens.
You, my dear female dog.
Well, what's good, fellas? What's good?
Everything is good. It's good to see you, Mike.
All is well. Thank you for popping in today, Mr. Mike Shaw. Mike, how are you, man?
I'm excellent. I don't want to jump into topics. I know Frank hates when we jump into topics because you might have it all set up. But I spent the night last night really watching that Laker-Milwaukee game.
That was a good game. We are going to cover that a little later. I
don't want to cover that. I just want to say the overreaction of what people say between Stephen A. Smith, Jalen Rose, and them. I know it's their job, but God, when I tell you the overreaction of what they will say about athletes off of one half of basketball.
But like you say, it's their job. I watched their commentary last night. First of all, Jalen Rose must have been using your barber.
His line was tight.
He got a little too much paint for me last night. Jalen Rose got a little too much paint. And don't get me wrong, Jalen Rose is my guy. I love Jalen Rose because he always keep it real, especially from the athlete's perspective. But, man, Jalen Rose, a cool 50.
Yes.
No, Jalen Rose, no gray hair? Not a little bit? All right. Enough said. And Stephen A. Smith looking upside his head like, how come my hair ain't that dark? Don't get me started. All right. This is the Box Seats. My name is Roddy Perry. I'll be taking you through this cavalcade of sports and comedy. Amir, man, the NBA GMs forming an association to support execs amid the concerns generated by the Trailblazer investigation. If you don't know, the Trailblazer being investigated, and many of the top execs are concerned that investigations like this could create an atmosphere where you can just get fired willy-nilly. So they're trying to start their own union to kind of get them some support. The players have union, the refs have union. How come the GMs don't have a union? Do you think that something like that should happen, man? They should have a union for the GMs?
Well, I think that the in all fairness, it's amazing that seemingly everybody is moving to a space where you have to have some sort of protection. It just seems to be that's the new way because everybody's suing everybody at the drop of a hat now. And if you don't have, a proper team or something, you can, find yourself on the wrong side of any kind of crazy lawsuit these days. The GMs having a union it sounds strange to me because I'm thinking to myself, these first and foremost are the gentlemen who do all the scouting, do all of the, seemingly hard work.
And let people go. They charge the firing folks.
Yeah. And
you need a union for.
And to that point, Rodney, because, again, having had a brother who was a former NBA player, we've heard story after story of players who showed up to work. You in your uniform, you out on the layup line, and you look up on the ticker, up on the, on the thing, and you see you've been traded. You're like, oh snap, let me go on back in here and trade and head on out to the airport. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it just sounds weird that these guys now, to your point about being guys who, often get players and also let players go. Now all of a sudden you guys are supposedly worried. Come on,
dog. Come on, son.
Come on, son.
Hey, you make a great point too, because it's like, you guys are the guys that are normally pulling those strings. Mike Sean, of course, everybody wants to be supported and appreciated, but the GMs, the guys in turn that's in charge with letting folks go. And how about this? A lot of times, with no notice, like I'm all for players and power. I know Frank isn't. Frank Hawkins to the old days when players, it was just GMs and the ownership that made all the decisions. Now we see players uniting and stuff. Is this a response, you think, to that, Mike Sean?
I'm shocked that they didn't have a union. I'm amazed that they just, because my thing is, if something happens, the first person, even like the president of the Washington football team, not the owner, but the guy who's under the owner,
run the team the day to day.
He's the guy now being looked into and being investigated. So what I'm saying is, like, if a player gets in trouble, he goes to his players union and he says, listen, can you defend me? If a team gets a lawsuit against them that has to do with the general manager, he's the one hiring people. So if you're not hiring enough women, they go at that person. If you're not hiring enough people of any minorities, they go at that person. So then you go like, well, who defends the general manager if in this case he's right or she's right, even though there's never a she. And that's half the reason why these general managers get in trouble, because we've never seen a she general manager.
No she's.
But they don't get it. They don't get that. Maybe if
they did get a she, it'll probably used to be a M.
Exactly. You stupid as hell. I'm not playing. With you.
Don't touch it.
No, but I think they should. I think they should have a union to, even in Dallas, when the Dallas organization got in trouble for a whole bunch of sexual harassment charges, they brought in a woman, and guess who she was riding the neck of? The GM. And the GM's like, the owner knew what was going on. Like, why are y'all coming at me? So I think they do need somebody to put a boundary or put somebody. We need a buffer. Comedians soon. We're going to need buffers before we get on stage. We're going to need to bring our lawyer to comedy clubs soon. That's how crazy it is out here. So that was a long way of saying
that is definitely crazy, man. Let's go to our viewers, our listeners. They're chiming in already. What's up, Facebook in the building? Sharonda came in. She's like, yeah, he's going blackity black, probably talking about Jalen Rose's hair. And where's this one I just read? Where is it? I just saw it. They would give you mad props. Well, here it goes. Amir looking sharp. Stop right there. The peanut gallery is cracking. Melon is popping today. And thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Rodney Perry. This is Box Seats, and Box Seats is going down today. Amir Sealy is joining us. My man, Mike Sean. I was going to see this story. The World Tennis Association chairman skeptical about email from missing Chinese tennis player. Now, apparently, Peng Shuai, she bravely accused a top government official of sexual assault. This happened in November.
Oh, wow.
Then she goes missing immediately after. And the Chinese government look, we got an email. She's fine. We got an email. She's fine. Everybody's going, no, she ain't fine.
Wow.
Where the hell is she at?
God.
If she were to email, how come she ain't surfaced? She ain't showed up yet. Man, this is like a big old stinky ball of trash, man. And I mean, all we can say is we hope this young lady turns up and we can clear this story up, man. But just what's your immediate thoughts upon hearing it, Amir?
You know, it never ceased to amaze me when you hear of a story like this, how it almost, hits you in the heartstrings right away. I happen to be a gentleman who has daughters. And so for me, and thinking about sports, and I hear you talk about, the fact that your children play sports, and I know you have daughters as well, Rodney, and I know you have daughters as well, Mike. But stuff like that hits us differently because, in all fairness, the last thing that you hope and that you would think is that somebody who's in a position of authority, good, bad, indifferent, and you hold somebody's um, uh, their chance to be great in your hands.
Wow.
You take advantage of that in a way that is not conducive to helping this person really get to where they're trying to get to. And we have the movie of Will Smith now playing the Venus, the Williams sisters' father or whatever.
Yes.
And you think to yourself about how imperative it is for dads, if you have children in sports, mothers as well. Be there. Watch everybody. Don't trust none of these people and be, leaving, the raising of your children to these people because unfortunately they have agendas and they have their own, problems that they're trying to sort through that may unfortunately be taken out on your children. And in this particular case, because you're talking about this is a government situation, it's even worse because we may never know the real story behind this situation. You know what I mean? Like, wow.
Wow, Mike Sean, man. First of all, great show this morning, Mike.
Oh,
Live was incredible. Sharonda's been tuning in, checking it out. For anybody that don't know, Mike Sean does a morning show that goes down every day. Mike, the show is always dope, man, and your team is incredible.
Thank you.
Amir brought up some great points in terms of us being fathers and having to deal with this. I mean, it looks like this government official is getting his R. Kelly on. What's your thoughts?
And this is China, right? This happened in China?
It's Chinese, yes.
Yeah, so I really think we have a lot of improvement and we have a lot of horrible racism going on in America. Horrible, disgraceful actions by police. But then I look at China and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stay here. Like I'm gonna stay I'm good. I'm gonna stay right here. Like, yeah, we'll just have to work this out together and fight the fight together. Yeah, we're gonna figure this out. The assaults, and I've never bitten my tongue, and I've always been looked upon like a caveman. Before that Olympic situation where they realized the white man had been molesting these kids for years. These the gymnasts were molesting the gymnasts for years. I always had a fundamental problem on why they had to be a white man around these young girls in tights 24 hours a day. They're like, well, he's a trainer. I said, so what you're telling me is there are no female trainers to train these girls. I always had a bad feeling about that then. Fast forward, my daughter's now with an agency to do commercials. And the dude said he had to come in and do photography and take the pictures. And what Amir said and what Rodney is co-signing is when he came to take, he was like, well, I want to take the pictures. I said, cool, you're going to take them at my house. And you're going to put the backdrop up. And we're going to find out. And every picture you take, I want to see the picture that you actually took. Because I don't know what you're doing with these pictures. These girls are so in jeopardy all the time. Because we will allow men to coach WNBA teams and be around WNBA teams, but we won't allow women to coach NBA men. And it doesn't make any sense. And everybody says, you're just a caveman. It should be able to happen. Okay, if it should be able to happen, why are we having stuff like this in gymnastics? Why are we having stuff like this with alleged, they were also tennis trainers who were training female tennis players. And it's something that's disgusting to me. And until people get really outraged, because people got fake outrage, until people get really outraged and really start holding these organizations accountable and suing them for $1 billion, like the Olympic Committee should be so they should be right now having to pay $1 billion out. And I'm not even exaggerating. I'm not doing my Dr. Evil. That's how much money they should have to pay out for what them little girls went through and what the disgusting. When you see the in courtroom, not just the trainer, but the physician that worked with them, what he was doing to them girls, it's a disgusting case, yo. Yeah. Now, he went to jail, but the Olympic Committee, the U.S. Olympic Committee.
He walked around free a long time, and a lot of people were implicit. They knew about it.
And everybody walked around. And look, we'll even go further. I won't even just do the men and the women. I'll do the fake hero Joe Paterno in Penn State, who knew that his defensive coordinator was raping kids in the basement.
Yes.
And when he was approached with it, this is the good story. This is their story. When he was approached with it, he said, "We'll get to it, but after we do the parents coming to campus day."
Wow.
Now that's not me. That is his team telling us.
Oh no, they definitely trying to keep him alive because he would have got choked. She got choked.
And we get crazy because I never forget being incensed when somebody said, I said that football team should have got the death penalty. That program should have got the death penalty. And they were like, yeah, but we don't want to hurt the kids. You're talking about the football team? You're talking about the 18-year-old kids? Oh, we don't want to hurt the 18, 19-year-old kids who can transfer, but it's okay to rape the little kids in the Man, listen, don't give me. I'll get on this soapbox and it won't be even funny no more. I'm sorry, Ryan.
You're right, Mike. I mean, it's such a lot to unpack, man. And you know, our children are the most vulnerable people, yet the most attacked, and it's sad. And we'll keep an eye out on this story.
Yes.
Up next, Texas Tech radio announcer suspended one game after Big 12 public reprimand for criticizing refs. Now, you know, they don't like when you criticize referees. So get this. During the Texas Tech 41-38 win over Iowa State last week, Red Raiders play-by-play announcer Brian Jensen and color analyst John Harris went far beyond criticizing the on-the-field duo. What do they call them? The Big 12 commissioner. They sued. They attacked the refs and they attacked the commissioner. They got named by the name of Bob Bowlesby by name and implied that the conference was biased toward the Cyclones and listed off the names of each member of the officiating crew. Now, look, dude.
Wow.
They went a little far.
Wow.
I think everybody deserves some criticism. And if you watch the NBA and the NFL, they go out of their way not to criticize the refs.
They do.
But, yo, this is a bit much. Giving out their names. They might as well get their address out. Mike Sean, is one game enough?
Damn, good question, Rodney. I think mentioning their names one by one is a lot. I think if you're gonna focus and do your commentary on that one play and say this is a bad call, but if you're gonna get into the whole and he might be right. The scary thing, he might be 100% right.
Right.
But we can't do it on every play. You know what I'm saying? We got to dissect the play. So I don't like suspending somebody for saying what they felt. If he didn't say anything that was insensitive to somebody's religion, race, or culture, and he just gave his opinion, I don't think he should be suspended. I think he should have got warned. I think he should have got warned of it. because honestly, this is what I'm saying. All these referees go around making big time decisions that affect people's lives. Number one, they don't have to face a press conference afterwards. They don't have to deal with the heat that the players. Now, when a player fails, his name is brought up, and when he fails, they didn't put the camera in the crowd to show his parents when he fails.
Wow.
When he gets in trouble, it's blasted all over the media. If you get a DWI, your whole life. So I'm saying, if he wants to name the officials, I don't see. I think it went too far, but I don't think it should get suspended.
Yo, Amir. I mean, you hear the story. These guys went in. They attacked the commissioner. They attacked everybody. Is one day suspension? Is that enough? Or should they through the book at their butts?
Rodney, before you, I didn't mean.
You gotta wait, Frank. It's not your turn.
No, I know, but I just want to say one thing, and then I'm gonna jump out. The reason why I forgot to add this, the reason why it's the college football conference, the way they're lining everything up.
The Big 12,
football, and the playoffs. That's what the whole thing is about. So I'm gonna jump out, let you all
Oh,
discuss.
whoa! This was about the playoffs.
No, what's happening is about the playoff seeding and everything else. They're playing the games and they're upset about certain games and everything else. So what they were trying to apply.
I mean, but they're still accusing the whole.
They're trying to apply that certain these refs are leaving certain things because it's going to affect the seeding if they lose particular games. You know what I mean?
Oh, and you got to suspend them because guess what? They're going to blow up your spot when it comes out as true.
Bingo. I'm out.
Now
right.
to that point and to
Hold
that.
on, Frank. They say they miss your opinions. I don't. All right. I'm
to
joking.
the point that Frank just brought into the conversation. You know what's so crazy, and Mike touched on this just a second ago. Again, we're old enough to remember certain sporting events as a whole. I grew up Big East. Obviously, my brother played for St. John's.
Yeah.
And when the Big East was the Big East, it was Georgetown, St. John's, Villanova. The list goes on and on and on. And if you remember, 30 years later, there were certain scandals in certain teams where players had shaved points and officials were a part of it. I think that unfortunately, there is always going to be somewhat of that dark cloud in sports because there are large amounts of money involved. And there are people who, unfortunately, because of their lack of being able to control their habits, may have to make calls and or plays that speak to keeping their life versus losing a life.
Wow.
Now, I'm not saying that that's what happened here in this particular case. I'm just saying when we look at the bigger and the broader picture, and especially over the course of our lives, we've seen it time and time again. I don't think that that's going away anytime soon because gambling, especially now, you can gamble, with your phones, betting kings. You can gamble on everything from the amount of time,
what shoestrings
they've
got
upped the
going on?
ante. Yeah, they've upped the ante all these, weird ways. So people can make money and or lose money and their sensibility based off of these things. So until there's some regulating of that, we're gonna have this this conversation till the end of time. Like, y'all can count on that. You know what I mean?
Wow. Hey, last question on this, man. Should we be able to criticize refs? Should we be able to criticize the leadership of a conference? You know what I'm saying? Not only the commentators, but all of us. Mir.
I'm gonna say this: my favorite sport ever is boxing, and it's crooked and it's dirty. But the only sport that's more crooked and dirty in boxing is college sports. That is the only industry that I can say really has boxing top. They literally have a system to get into the playoffs. Well, it doesn't matter if you're undefeated. We subjectively will tell you that we think this team in college football, even though you beat them, you can beat them head on, and the ratings will come out, and Michigan will still be in front of Michigan.
Strength of schedule matters.
No, but I beat you. We won. We beat you. And the next week, you're still in front of me.
Right.
Go ahead, Amir.
And I do think to to the question that you asked, Rodney, I think we should be able to criticize our referees. I think we should be able to criticize, heads of, organizations. Here's where it gets funny to a point that Mike made earlier. It's opinions. The problem is because now people take everybody's opinion so seriously and so to heart, where before we could kind of shirk things off. We'd be like, somebody said something about me. Okay, whatever. I'm really not gonna allow that to affect me.
Right.
The way the world is set up now in this current format of the world that we deal with on a regular basis, now supposedly all of that matters. And it could be because things go viral. Before, things didn't go viral. It might have, gone local, meaning people in your neighborhood, your family had to deal with it, things like that. But now, because it can honestly go around the world, and then people, when they see you out and about, aren't you the guy who, whatever? So I think that that's why people are taking things, so much more from an emotional standpoint than we used to back in the days. And again, it's part of where we are now. So we gotta I always say I factor that in when I'm responding to things because it could change in a blink of an eye. You know what I mean?
And real quick, they should be criticized. And let me just give you two examples. The Raiders, I'm sorry, Rodney, the Raiders and the Patriots, the tuck rule.
Right.
The call had never been called ever in history. And it gets called. Then and then hold up. But this is the irony of it. It never gets called again. Don't reporters have the right? First of all, doesn't an announcer have the right to be like, I've never heard that call ever in life.
Right.
And don't the reporters have a right to actually go up to this official and ask the question and be like, have you ever called that before in your life? And they go like, no. And then they go like, so you're saying your whole entire NFL officiating life, you've never seen that. But today was the very first time you've ever seen the tuck rule.
Come on now.
Now the New Orleans Saints, when they got robbed on that pass interference call.
Yes.
Everybody in America saw that was pass interference.
Thank you, Mike.
Don't announcers have the right to
that's your team? You really saw it.
Yeah. Don't the announcers have the right to be like, that is the worst call I've ever not seen called in my life. And shouldn't the officials have to answer questions after the game about that? Like, they get away with doing this stuff and changing the course of history. That started Tom Brady's legacy. That ended the Raiders' run.
Yeah.
That's not all by coincidence. Something's behind this, yo. Something's behind it. Go ahead, Frank. Prop Franco, because I want to know what he thinks about the tuck rule. Tom Brady may not even be the quarterback of the Patriots the next season.
I'm going to lunch.
Exactly. Tom Brady may not be the quarterback of the team the year after if that call isn't made.
Wow.
I won't go that far. But okay.
All right, y'all. Here we go. Baker Mayfield. He got choked up yesterday as the Oklahoma death row inmate Julius Jones. Mayfield was asked some questions, and he talked about how his season was kind of whack and his play has been whack, but then it turned really sad as he got to talking about this Julius Jones story. And if you're not familiar with it, this young man, it looks like he's been wrongly accused. He's on death row, and he may be he's already sentenced to death, but he's set to be executed like very soon. So people like Baker Mayfield, people like Kim Kardashian, who has been an advocate for people on death row already, said something, but have been championing this young man's cause. And so as we look at this story, man, my question to you guys is should we be seeing some other athletes that look like Julius? I mean, of course, Baker Mayfield is chiming in, but should the LeBron James of the world and maybe the Kyrie Irvings, shouldn't we be looking for them to say something, or are we early and it's coming? I
mean, go ahead, Amir. You go. Go ahead, take it.
I will say this. I think that sometimes things have to sit right with people's spirit. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that a Kyrie or a LeBron or anybody else of African-American descent or Latino descent isn't affected by, this young man's story if you're following the story. The interesting thing is, obviously when somebody like Baker Mayfield or Kim Kardashian, who have the world always, taking snapshots of whatever it is they seem to take interest in, it just brings a different energy, to the situation. We know for a fact that people such as LeBron and Kyrie, especially in the current circumstances that they're in, LeBron has been told to shut up. Kyrie, just based off the fact of him not, wanting to be immunized or vaccinated, has, also gotten some, interesting energy given his way based off of what he's going through. So for those guys, it probably is a little harder for them to jump on board with this particular situation based off of what they are going through, from their personal standpoints. I think that, in this particular case, what is really so disheartening about this particular story is, according to all accounts, the young man really didn't do it. And the lawyers know it, the governors and, everybody knows it. But for whatever reason, they have this weird duality in our country where sometimes when it's people of African-American descent, regardless to how much, things are proven to be right, they seem to still want to make some sort of example of somebody. Right. And usually it's people of color. Now, I'll just add to that by saying this, because I got a phone call from my mom today, and sure you guys are aware of this. The gentleman who was supposedly accused of Malcolm X's murder have supposedly all of a sudden been found not guilty, this, that, the third. Now, this also takes on a different connotation for me than most, because as some of you may or may not know, my father and my mother were very close friends of the late Malcolm X. My father, in his words, says he protected his brother and his friend. He doesn't call himself a bodyguard. He said he protected his brother and his friend. But I'm saying that because my mom shared with me today, she said they grilled my father 999 times about those two gentlemen who are now being exonerated My father, along with several other people who were present that night, said that those gentlemen weren't even there. And as you know, they've served most of their lives in jail and, going through that. So it just lends to how warped our judicial system seems to be and how unjust and how unfair it is. So I'll leave it at that. And, I'll let Mike speak.
Yeah, very, very sad. Mike, should we expect our black athletes to take more of a vested interest in something like this? I mean, or is this idea of Baker Mayfield getting choked up? Is it just not mutually exclusive? It's not the same.
I think black athletes and minority athletes should speak up, and I think they have. Maybe not that they haven't been shown in this particular case as loudly, but I think I've seen them speak up. Number two, I want to say it's really hard to speak up because when you take a knee against police brutality, then people like Stephen A. Smith turn against you and put venom on your name.
Right.
You got a guy like Kyrie Irving who all he's doing, whether we agree with him or not, all he's doing is standing on his principles. That's all he's doing, and he's being attacked.
Right.
And he's made to be look like a monster. On the flip side, I've always said this with the case with police brutality. I always wanted the cops to come out and speak upon these dirty cops. And sometimes I think it kind of, I want white people to actually talk to white people. I want white people to actually tell white people how disgusting these actions are. Like, this guy's not only innocent, there's another person who says they did it. There was another person who said they did it.
Right. Yeah. How that happen?
What else do you want when somebody, the Malcolm X, what you just incredibly just spoke on, Amir, is so redundant that you release him now 55 or something years later, and you just want to go like this, tap the mic and go, our bad.
Wow.
Like, it is a disgusting situation. And once again, I don't want to live in another country because I shouldn't have to live in the country because the people I came from built the country. So I shouldn't have to want to go to another country. But when it comes to this, like, I found like Steve Kerr said something about this. I love when Greg Popovich speaks, because Greg Popovich, when he speaks, he lets white people know the ignorance of their ways. And I'm not talking about all white people, so please don't put comments. I know you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the white people who have created the system and manipulated this system for hundreds of years. That's who I'm talking about. The judges, prosecutors, congressmen, governors, and mayors, the Texas governor, the whole nine. So yes, long-winded answer, and I apologize. Black men should stand up, but I love when white people tell other white people how effed up they are right now, and I think they need more of that.
Wow. Hey, joining the show.
Could I jump in for a second?
Go ahead.
This is major. Julius Jones was just exonerated just now.
Yep, I just saw that.
He's granted clemency by the governor. Still literally hours before the scheduled execution. All right.
Thank you.
So he granted clemency or granted a stay of execution?
Granted clemency by Oklahoma Governor Stitt hours before the scheduled execution.
And
look up that word clemency for me and figure out exactly what that means.
That means that he will be able to not get executed tonight. That's what that means. He's not going to get amnesty. And I'll get clarity on it.
Are we sure that that's what that means? Look it up, Mike. No, I'm only asking. I'm telling you why I'm asking, Frank. Because if he got a stay of execution, that means he's still going to be executed, but he's not going to be executed today. If he got clemency, he may walk free.
It says this. This is what it says. It says the process by which a governor, president, or administrative board may reduce a defendant's sentence or grant a pardon. Clemencies have been granted in death penalty cases for a variety of reasons. Right now, CNN is reporting that it looks like he's going to get pardoned for what's happening, for what happened.
Wow. Clemency is a mechanism for granting a person convicted of a criminal offense relief from a court-ordered sentence or punitive measure. Commutations reduce and injure the sentence either fully or partially. So
it says he just got commuted to life in prison without the possibility of parole. That's what happened. The governor just instituted that just now.
Right. So he that gives him the ability to continue to fight this case.
Right.
But he is not walking free today. But he is not going to be executed today.
All right, well, so I'm gonna jump out, let you continue doing your show. I'm sure you got a guest you got to bring in. All right,
absolutely. Thank you, Frank Holder. That is our executive producer. He is known as the principal, and he will come in when we get to customer stuff. But besides that, he's always got a wealth of knowledge. And thank you, Frank Holder, for giving us that breaking news. In the queue, my man, Mr. Hank Denson. What's up, Hank? You don't know that's Amir. That's the homie Mike Sean. This is our buddy Hank Denson. Hank, we're talking about Baker Mayfield getting choked up over Julius Jones, the young man that was convicted of murder. And then Frank came in, and Frank just told us that Julius Jones had his sentence commuted. Matter of fact, let me tell you.
By the governor?
He got
clemency. He got
clemency. Thank you.
It's going to halt the actual execution. It just like breaking news just happened.
Right. This just happened. Real quick, Hank, give us your thoughts, man. We're looking at the case with the white gentleman shooting a gun and killing people walking free. So what's your thoughts as you look at this and see Julius Jones and the sports world weighing in on it? And now his sentence, he's been granted clemency, man. What you think?
I mean, dude, it's the America we live in, man. It's the America we live in. And me coming from, my father was a engineer at Smith & Wesson. So we grew up with guns and we knew how to use guns, but we were never thinking, hey, get one of dad's guns and run down and guard the barbershop because they looting. You know what I'm saying? Or my mother didn't go, hey, let me give y'all slices of pound cake and drop y'all off and y'all protect the Mrs. Johnson's shop with some guns. But then we fast forward to this, and you know, it's the color for the connection. It's just that's what it is.
It's so crazy too, Hank. I mean, just to hear you break it down like that, it's like, who put you in charge?
That's my thing is, if you want to shoot a gun, we love military here. Join the military. They on every corner. They gonna give you all kinds of stuff to shoot. If she want that's the thing. Like my son was like, Dad, I want to shoot guns. Hey son, the military, you can join the army. Well, you got guns here, Daddy? I said, these guns are for me.
These my guns.
You know, and out here in Texas, Rodney, and I warn everybody, all my brothers out here in Texas, it is so easy to get a gun. I'm in Jersey right now, but in Texas, literally, I can walk in and I can buy me a bunch of guns. And I warn everybody, because everybody's like, well, I can carry a gun now, and it'll be a self-defense. Understand, after you use that gun, when you're Black and Hispanic, after you use that, you still got a lawyer. You have to get a lawyer to prove that it was self-defense.
Yes, very true.
Me and Rodney, we enjoy.
Say it again. I think he broke up.
It's like somebody called him.
Yeah, but what I was saying was I try to tell everybody, yeah, it's easy to get these guns, but once you get in that courtroom, you back to being Black and Hispanic. And you got to prove to these people that it was self-defense. And I swear that this is a setup right now to let these guns on the street easy, just to load up the prison cells with us even more.
Yes.
Just to get another level of us being locked up even more. And I know it's for protection, but I swear it's a setup, y'all. And I might be wrong. I'm not telling you I'm intellectually a scholar. I just see this as point blank as a scam to get us more locked up and more in trouble with the criminal court system. Back to sports.
I believe.
Go ahead, Amir.
I was going to say, no, I'm with Mike. I believe that to be somewhat the same as well. I think, we really have to be, I always say we really have to pay close attention to things that supposedly now come easy to us, because these things have never been easy to us in the past. So you always have to question and or analyze, wait, why is it all of a sudden this is supposedly such an easy thing for us to do and or being, deemed acceptable now? You weren't accepting of it before, and now all of a sudden, oh yeah, it's cool. Nah, I don't believe you.
And they gonna make it easy for our neighborhoods to get guns. That's what you're telling me.
I mean, they kind of been doing that for decades. But hey, guys, let's get back to the sports, man.
Back to sports.
And shouts out to the Jones family. At least their son and their father and their friend gets another day in court, and he wasn't going to get that this time 20 minutes ago. So the Sixers have approximately 30 players across the league that would satisfy them in a Ben Simmons trade. I mean, man, we've been beating this Ben Simmons thing to death. The the Sixers look like that. They were like a few people. Let me see who they put on here.
My bad.
Tell me who's on the list. Please tell me who's on the list for Ben Simmons, please. So I can just get mad as hell. Just tell me, please.
It's. I mean, this is the thing. They didn't name everybody, but they said something about Dame Lillard. They said something about, but I'm like, who's giving up Dame Lillard for Ben Simmons?
Word on the streets, they say they want Dame Lillard, a first-round draft pick, and 3 of the apostles. And they won't take any. They need 3 of the apostles, and they need the good apostles.
They want Jesus himself.
They want the top 3 apostles. They don't want no Judas or nothing like that. They want the apostles.
They want Matthew, Mark, and John.
Yes, exactly. That's who they want. That's who they want, guys.
Yo, hey man, Hank Denson. Ben Simmons, man, they've been kicking these ideas around for forever. I think they just want to keep him on the team and not play him and make him show up to everything.
Money, dog. It's about money. Cap space. They already done paid this kid some money. So they like.
So he can't just go anywhere then.
Bruh, nobody don't want to buy that contract and then he still can't score?
Wow. Amir, is that how it works? I mean, he got a deal already, but they have to honor the deal, right?
Got to honor the deal, and the other team ends up having to take up that contract.
Take up the rest of the contract.
And pay him off. And everybody like, dude, he can't hit a jump shot. So why would I bring this dude here when I could and get a recruit coming out that's better, taller,
more prepared? I think this situation is twofold, which is unfortunate. To the point that Hank just made about the contract, that's one part of it, meaning no team wants to take on his contract and then cripple themselves in terms of being able to bring in other or extra pieces. And that's a rule based off of other large contracts that we've seen come over the course of our watching NBA, basketball over our lives. The second part of it is the part where this is the part that I just don't understand for Ben Simmons personally. Look, young man, you have an opportunity here to kind of set things straight. But what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to hit the gym hard. And by that, I simply mean you need to call everybody who you can think of who is an elder statesman for the league. I don't care if it's Olajuwon. I don't care if it's Kevin Garnett. The list goes on and on and on. Talk to those gentlemen about how you improve your game and get better and come back like a brand new man. Otherwise, you're going to play yourself out of the league, and we're going to find out that you end up being folklore and a punchline for having never lived up to the potential that they thought and/or felt that you were capable of.
When Amir A-Rock Silly call your ass folklore, it's over.
Right. Well, Amir said folklore. They're gonna be like, man, you out here Ben Simmons and us.
What?
Hey,
with my girl, I'm using the word folklore. I hope I use it correctly, but it's coming. I'm gonna slay this. I'm a slayer with that.
I watched the Lakers game last night, man. Lakers versus the Minnesota. Is it?
No, it was
the Milwaukee Bucks.
It's like Milwaukee.
The current reigning champions of the NBA. Nobody is really giving these boys no love. When I tell you, Giannis came out there last night and told y'all why he's that guy. AD looked helpless. Giannis dropped 47 points and manhandled AD all night. AD walked out with 18 points. You cannot give up 47 and only score 18. Man, what's y'all thoughts? Go ahead, Mike. I think you started on this a little earlier.
I have told you this, and everybody was mad. They said Kevin Durant's the best player in the league because they like the way Kevin Durant shoots 3-pointers and crosses over and has ball handling. You can't stop. I don't care how you score. I don't care what it looks like. People are so impressed on what it looks like. When you're in the NBA Finals and you got 240 pieces on somebody, and then on the last game you drop a 50 piece, I don't care if you crossed them over and shot a fadeaway 3-pointer. All I care is those are the points. And I told everybody, all these announcers were making fun of Giannis, saying, don't shoot 3-pointers. That's ridiculous. You should never shoot a 3-pointer. And I told you at some point them 3-pointers are going to fall. And when they fall, you're going to look like Anthony Davis. And Anthony Davis is a great player, y'all. I'm not gonna slay him the way Jalen Rose and them did after the first half. He's a great player. But when the Greek Freak starts hitting 3-pointers, You tell me what you're supposed to do. What are you supposed to do except say my bad? Just my bad. And look at LeBron. What AD should have done was look at LeBron and said, your ass better get healthy soon. Because if this guy's going to keep hitting 3-pointers, we're going to need all the help we can get from everybody. Because that dude is obnoxiously good.
Well, LeBron is supposed to play this Friday against the Boston Celtics, and they seem to be in disarray. So that'd be a good team to come back against. But
whoa. Hey, is Holder cool with that?
The principal.
There we go.
That's not a fair statement.
He was coming back in. Look at his face.
Dog,
are the Celtics not in disarray?
I don't know if I would use that word. They have injuries. They got injuries, bro.
They arguing every day, Frank.
No, that was 2 weeks ago, bro. Don't go there.
That was last week. That was literally last week.
Rodney Perry, I'm giving you a pink notice today. Today's your first pink notice.
Yo, me knowing
I'm a part of the union.
Yo, me being from Massachusetts, I was like, he coming back in here.
Oh, the principal had to come back in. He had to come back in.
He coming back in here. He ain't gonna live in 617
all jokes aside, Hank, what's your thoughts? I mean, LeBron's supposed to be back this Friday, and hopefully they'll get manhandled like they did with a guy like Giannis, because then you can switch over. But the coach stuck with it because they got big guys on their team. They didn't have to leave AD out there like that the whole night. What do you think, Amir?
I think first of all, I think the real crux of the problem is this for AD. As great a player as he is, he's obviously super fragile. Nobody really wants to.
How fragile is it?
We all try to, skate around it. We all try to, be nice about it. But the man is super fragile. I look at his situation and I think, the fact that he needs somebody out there as another support piece. Yes, we thought that maybe Russell Westbrook would be able to provide that, but Russell Westbrook needs the ball too much. And I think both of them play the exact same way. It's just he's longer. I'm watching games and I'm saying to myself, he's doing way too much outside shooting when, just like Giannis did yesterday, there were plays where Giannis was in the paint. He was finger rolling right at the basket. I'm not talking about dunking on anybody, just simply dropping it in the basket right there because he's that tall. And sometimes I don't see AD able to do that. But again, you're looking at a difference in weight class too. Giannis looks like, club of
he weighs about 20, 30 pounds.
Exactly. And he's cut up and you can see it. You know what I mean? So I think that's a real challenge for AD. But I think the other side of it is, Giannis, we've watched him and his game grow over the last few years. And one of the things that I'm impressed by is it looks like every year the man comes back with a new wrinkle, like he should. Because people get used to, you can only do this or do that. But he comes back with something new that it appears he worked on in the offseason and people aren't prepared for. So
hello, Ben Simmons. Did you hear what Amir said?
Right.
Hello, Ben Simmons. Did you hear that? Go ahead.
The crazy thing now is no more Kobe, because Kobe was training these dudes to be killers.
Yeah.
That's why my boy Tatum and the Celtics ain't nothing to play with. But what's going on now is when I look at Giannis, when I look at the Greek Freak, anybody that look like they're a little musty and they don't care, you can't really stick. He looked like he a little bit musty and he don't care. You know the dude who come to the court and you be like, yo, we all got here.
We just got here. You ain't taking no shower? Yeah.
He play like that. Like he come already sweaty. He be saying stuff.
So are you saying Giannis is a little funky?
Little funky, be saying stuff in Greek. You be like, whoa. He don't care. He don't, and he's a man child. You ever look at his brothers? They look like they all must,
all of them
angry. It's so when he playing, he's still hungry. He play like this may be my last game. They're gonna send me back. They're gonna stamp my visa and put me out of this country. That's how he play.
Okay, and I'm not really arguing that point. I'm saying the Lakers Friday against the Celtics.
Look, let me tell you something. I'm a Celtics fan. Look, I'm gonna tell. We give LeBron a lot of passes. LeBron came on TV and told us he spent $2.5 million in fitness. Okay, dude, you should be in shape. Okay, you brag. I spent $2.1 million keeping my body in shape. My mind is what I can will my body. Well, come on, dude. Come on.
Yeah, you can tell them cats that be around Boston. You can hear it in their hate. You can hear it. They were like, you spent all that money to train. How dare you have a strain in your abdominal? You couldn't take care of the abdominal in mid-season. I dare you cannot get hurt ever.
Hey Frank, if you're the Lakers, Frank, you're the Lakers. Don't you want to come back against your Boston Celtics this Friday?
Rodney's not gonna let that go.
If you're the Lakers, you want to come back and beat the Celtics? That's what you're saying?
You want to come back and play the Celtics, just get a win.
Yeah, you want to come back and play, but let's be honest, right? If you're LeBron, would you risk it if you ain't all the way back? You know what I mean? You got to look at the whole thing, like what I put.
Right. I mean, and that's definitely a great point, because as I was watching them discuss this on television, it was like, "Yo, is he ready?" But I mean, I feel like LeBron been ready.
The Lakers got bigger issues than that. They're not gelling as a team. When Russell Westbrook comes in at the team looks completely off. You know what I mean? They're not gelling as a team.
I think they're finding their way. I mean, I've been watching the games. Of course, you know I stream the games on YouTube.
Yeah,
and I watched the whole game.
I've watched 10 Laker games right now, at least 10. And what I could honestly say, Russell Westbrook, when LeBron is not on the floor and everything else, he commands the floor and everything else. But when he comes back in, it's going to jump the whole thing. That's not even my biggest point. My biggest point is the last 3 games I've watched, right? AD has got crapped on. Bam Adebayo chewed him out.
Yeah,
but they won.
I'm just saying, I'm talking about individuals like that. You know,
okay, all right.
You can throw that one and say they won that game, but they lost last night. Giannis ran around him like he was standing still last night. I mean,
Giannis is gonna run around everybody, but I love when fans say that this team is not gelling. The Celtics haven't gelled in 3 years.
We ain't talking about the Celtics right now.
Wow. Actually, we're trying to talk about the Celtics. But let's move on. The Suns beat Dallas 105-98 to extend their winning streak to 10. Devin Booker is a beast. 24 points. This is the Suns' longest winning streak since 2009-2010 season. Hey, Amir, man, these guys, the Phoenix Suns, are the truth. Am I right?
I think the Suns are. I think, we kind of, dismissed them. They were in the finals last year, and were not for the fact that probably it was the first time and they were so young, they might have done, had a better showing in the finals. But when you look at that team, again, group of young guys who are playing well together, really understanding, what each person's identity is and what they bring to the team. And they play like it. And adding JaVale McGee, which gives their center another, gives them another big man and, somebody who can at least block some shots and take some of those fouls away, I think makes them a formidable opponent. So we got to keep our eye on the Suns. Plus, Chris Paul, this might be his last hurrah. He might really this year. So we got to see.
I mean, that Western Conference is still pretty tough, though, Mike. How do you feel the Suns are going to fare?
I think the greatest thing they had is they went through that grind last year, going through the playoffs and going to the finals and getting that experience, and then having a pit bull like Chris Paul who ain't scared to hold other players accountable. Like, trust me, I think Ben Simmons probably would have punched Chris Paul in the face if Chris Paul had played on the team with Ben Simmons, because Chris Paul would have been in that ear like, dog, we're not doing this. We're not going to make this happen. But
all right, guys, we're down to the home stretch of the show. Real quick, I want to get some hot takes before we get out of here. Give me your take as quickly as possible. Hank Denson, Chicago Bulls blow a 20-point lead. What the hell is going on with the Bulls?
Oh man, look, they ain't been nothing. Ain't gonna be nothing. They need to go get anybody with the last name Jordan. Maybe they'll play better.
Hilarious. Mike Sean, hot take. Another loss for the Knicks. Orlando Magic were able to come back, man, and the Knicks had this game firmly in hand. Can the Knicks put together a winning season at the very least?
They probably can, but I hate to say this. Frank Holder was correct about Kemba Walker. I think he's washed.
Really?
You know what? It looks that way. Look at this. Get out of here, Frank. Get out of here. Amir, the Nets beat the short-handed Cavaliers 109-99. Cleveland was without Jared Allen, Colin Sexton, Evan Mobley, the whole team. Wasn't nobody there. Let me tell you, Amir, me, you, Mike Sean, and Hank Denson played for them last night. I mean, they're not going to get it together. They can't.
I think the Nets are in trouble. In all fairness, I think the fact that they changed that rule and made Harding mortal again, because we were so used to calling that guy must see TV and video game. But now that he's mortal again, he seems to be normal. And I think that I saw somebody wrote this, and I think that this is crazy. This is a dude who's a former basketball player, though. But he wrote this. He said Kyrie Irving and James Harden. He said a great six men. He said they're not leaders on teams. And I had to think about that for a while because he said you think about Vinnie Johnson, Andrew Toney, and players of that ilk. Those two gentlemen really fall under that category versus what we've tried to put them, the categories we've tried to put them in. And I had to go, you might be right, because both of those gentlemen had the opportunity to lead teams. We saw what happened when they were given the leadership role. Neither one of them was able to lead anybody. But given the opportunity to be a part of a situation where things are already rocking and rolling, they show up.
Well said. That man is Amir Seeley. Mike Sean is in the building. Hank Denson sitting in with us. My name is Rodney Perry. This is the Box Seats final take. Frank, if you want to pop in here, you can take this one. Celtics lose to Atlanta Hawks 110-99 in a bounce attack. Jason Tatum dropped 34. I mean, the Celtics aren't looking horrible. How are they going to put it together, Frank?
They're not going to be able to until they get Jay B back and Robert Williams back. They're not going to be able to. And the coach, who I thought was going to be a good coach, is not the great coach right now. So
you've been calling for that guy to get out of there for a long time.
Yeah, and watch at the end of the season, everybody else is going to say it too. He's a great assistant coach. He's not a great head coach. We all know. Amir could probably tell you this real fast. When you love up some people to one love, they can't do it. They should have got Billy Donovan. Look what that man is doing to Chicago Bulls. That's what they should have got, but we got to wrap.
They didn't do that. They didn't. Calm down. Hold on, buddy. Hey, what a great show today. They didn't get Billy Donovan. They got who they got, and it's horrible over there right now. All right, the name of the show is The Box Seats. We're on every day. You can check us out. And Frank, I was looking on the Apple Podcast. Are we on the podcast too?
Yes, Apple, we're everywhere. Apple, this podcast, video and audio is everywhere. So if y'all want to download the app, you can see it. If you look it up,
you can listen to us daily there too as well. Yeah. Hey, my name is Rodney Perry. It's called The Box Seats. Amir A-Rock Seeley. How do people find you, bro?
I'm A-Rock Seeley on Instagram. I'm Amir Seeley on Facebook and on Twitter. Thank you as always, gentlemen. Love being here with you.
With that Sean
that boy, fly boy. Hey, Mike Sean, man, how do we stay in touch with you, bro? Be your friend.
At Mike Sean Comedy, everywhere on everything. That's it.
Hey, well, everything. We're quickly approaching Thanksgiving. Hank Denson, straight out the barbershop. Hank, how do we say that, bro?
Everything clean. It's easy. Just press the button. Google Hank Denson. It's easy.
Thank you, Hank.
Hank said, Google me. Hey, also my man, the principal himself, Frank Holder. Frank, how do people watch the Humor Meal, man? Because this is just one of the many shows you got over there.
Yeah, it is. But all you gotta do is download the app, or you can look for us on Roku or Plex or Distro. Like, well, we're a lot of places, man. If you Google Humor Mill TV, it'll tell you everywhere you can find it. But thank you for that, Rodney. I appreciate that.
Hey, my name is Rodney Perry. You can be Rodney Perry live on all social media. I'm sorry, Hank. What'd you say?
He gonna talk to you bad first, though. He gonna disrespect you, talk to you crazy.
Hey, we're gonna be great, man. Hey, it's been a great show. Shouts out to Talent and Fig. Miss you guys. Until tomorrow, we'll see you. This is The Box Seats.
Appreciate y'all.
We still live, Frank.